What effect do you think the ceasefire in Lebanon is going to have on Gaza then?
Well, I don't know. I think that's a difficult one too. I think it might make it more likely that they'll feel more empowered to carry on in Gaza.
Well, I agree. I mean, that deal in Lebanon seems to be so much in favour of Israel.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think that.
It was suggested to me this morning that having flattened the northern half of Gaza, that makes a good foundation for taking it over and building Israeli settlement.
Oh, I think that's the intention. Yeah. They're going to force the Gazans into less than half the territory. I mean, the same process has been going since 1948. You see these maps of the Palestinian territory shrinking.
But they were hoping that relatively moderate pressure would force the Palestinians to get them to go. But I think this extreme pressure might just work.
Yeah. Well, the talk right from the beginning of having settlements on the sea, people wanting houses on the coast, on the Mediterranean. I think that's intentional. And anyway, nobody's helping them. That's the awful thing about it.
Well, on that thing, I came across it. Have you come across the Irish politician Claire Daly?
No.
She was an MEP. She's a very outspoken Irish politician, and she was an MEP. So she didn't get elected last time around. There's a clip of her online where she's really stridently calling US, European and UK politicians completely lily-livered and cowardice in failing to stand up. That's a really feisty performance. So just if you Google Claire Daly, it's online this week.
Yeah. Well,
it's really very good.
Yeah. I think our government's been disgraceful. Deserted them altogether.
She's finally got her voice back, so now finally she can speak again.
Oh well,
Say something on.
Here again on a nice day for a change. So yeah, we're just glad that people are still coming out to show their support. Yesterday it was the UN International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people, which was a good occasion, for us to think about how we can continue to support the Palestinians and show our, support for their call for justice and human rights. So, and we finished our 50-kilometer walk. So that was good. That was for medical aid for Palestinians.
So how do you feel about the situation in Gaza now?
Well, it just seems to be getting worse and worse. Now with the winter weather coming on, they had thousands of tents destroyed because they were obviously too close to the shore of the Mediterranean. They got flooded, and people are still starving. Only about 6% of the aid that is needed is getting in.
Now they're depopulating the whole of the northern part of Gaza. It's all in their general's plan. So, I mean, the situation never looked bleaker for the Palestinians. I think what they need is what they call a deus ex machina, which is where, when a situation seems hopeless, something that you wouldn't have thought of happens, which saves the day. And you kind of wonder what that could possibly be. And I kind of wonder if it might actually be the new American president, Donald Trump, because his ego is bigger than anything else. And he's already said he can solve wars in one day. So I think if his ego takes precedence like that, he might actually put some pressure on Netanyahu, even though they're the closest buddies imaginable. I think his ego might be better, and that's the only thing I can think of that might save him at this point.
Well,
what do you think?
Well, I don't know. I suppose anything's possible, but something.
Touching at straws. That's called touching at straws. But you never know. I mean, things change. I mean, at one time they thought there'd be 1,000-year Reich in Germany, and we all know what happened to that. if you look at it from a historical perspective, then things are going to change somehow.
I mean, the Palestinians have always been steadfast and, sticking up for their
That's the other
rights.
thing, yeah.
So,
They can't kill them all.
well, that's right. So hopefully there will be some hope in the new year. We'll see.
We've just been talking about all sorts of stuff. Anti-Semitism was what we started off with, and how that is taking over the whole debate. And anything that you say against Israel is taken as anti-Semitic, and that needs to be redefined.
Yeah, we saw that last week. Was it last week with the issuing of the arrest warrants by the International Criminal Court and the automatic response from the Israeli government is that this is anti-Semitic. But that was some positive, some welcome news happening.
Well, that's right. But then you also get France saying, "Oh yeah, but if he comes here, we won't arrest him."
Yes, yes, which was not such a positive development. Although they do have a legal obligation, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, exactly. If they're signed up for the International Criminal Court, then yes, which they are, they should.
Yeah.
But they specifically said that they wouldn't arrest him if he came to France. So,
And I think that's the first, along with Hungary, the first or second European country to say that.
yeah.
I think that's one of the important things about being here and being at demonstrations across the country, keeping up that pressure on our government.
Well, Keir Starmer hasn't come out and said we will or we won't. He's kept very quiet about it, frankly.
He has. But you do have this. You have this bizarre situation where we're legally obligated to arrest the leaders of Israel if they set foot here for war crimes, and yet our government still considers them to be
An ally, exactly.
ally and has a
Yeah.
trade agreement with them, and they're still supplying weapons
And
maybe
parts,
less than previously.
and parts for planes that are bombing Gaza. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I just wanted to point out that yesterday was the United Nations International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people. And it does give them a lot of encouragement and hope to know that people like us are still standing up, coming out and protesting and keeping faith with them. So again, I'd just like to thank you for coming week after week, month after month. Heaven knows how long we're still going to have to do this. Certainly, the situation is going worse and worse in Gaza. Unfortunately, the winter's setting in. People's tents have been destroyed in the water and rain and tides. So we just have to keep protesting and saying enough is enough. So once again, thanks very much. Brian has got his olive oil and dates and
We've got Maftool, which is very
from Zaytun.
Also, we've got olive oil soap. Gift packs of 4 olive oil and single day. And the gift
So-
packs of 4 are a mixture of pure, that's plain, lemon, rose and sage.
Okay. So good Christmas presents. So definitely it's time to stock up. So once again, hope that we'll see you all again next week if there isn't a ceasefire. So thanks for coming, everyone. Thanks.